Okay. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then they have
Your ears were burning. Western Kentucky.
Someone here is a wheelchair.
that's people that are in media, that's
Mark's gonna be late.
So I can do it.
So yeah, no, the only problem is the video for that.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, how you doing? I'm sorry I'm late. I just got
No,
back
you're
from,
fine.
I just had PT, so I was trying to join in.
Yeah, that looks fine. What I'm saying is on Zoom, now it's small. Do I need to turn my computer down? Do I need to turn my computer down? Yeah, Lauren can do that.
Well, I can take that class at 3, so I'll have to remote.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Lauren's gonna do one.
Hey guys, here's a mic check. Here's a mic check. I just got the big TV down, and that you can see that. That's rolling. I can see. Oh, no wonder we wants to see my back end. Okay. Yep.
For us being able to hear those who are online, is that going to come through this computer or is it?
Kevin, for anyone who has a question online, will it come through my computer or where is that coming from? Okay.
So we're not sure. No, we're talking about the commissioners. Commissioners have one comment. Yes.
Let's mute that computer and turn up the TV. I think TV is going to be easier for everybody to hear.
So mute my computer?
Yes.
Jason, can you hear us? Can you unmute so we can see if we hear you?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Is, try again. Let's see, now it's gonna.
Now, we're going to go ahead and call to order today's meeting of the Kentucky Opioid Advisory Commission. The first order of business is to go through a roll call. Commissioner Allen, here. Dr. Brenzel,
Present.
Dr. Freeman,
Here.
Commissioner Ingram, present. Commissioner Kelly. And with virtually. Commissioner Birdie.
Here.
Commissioner Ranks, who's joining us virtually. Let's see if we can make sure that she's got audio, as well as Dr. Roop.
Yes. Here.
So Commissioner Kelly and Commissioner Ranks, are you able to hear us?
It's been in and out, the sound, but I can hear you now.
Okay. Thank you. With that, we'll continue to move forward with today's agenda. First is the adoption of the agenda. I know that all commission members have received a copy of that. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Next up is the business meeting schedule. The current schedule for the commission business meetings are as follows: March 31st, 2026, May 5th, 2026, July 7th, 2026, November 8th, 2026, and November 3rd, 2026. There will be additional discussions regarding the schedule when we get to new business, so I will bring those matters up at that time. Next order of business is the minutes from the last business meeting on November 4th, 2025. Hopefully you all have had the opportunity to review these minute meetings prior to our commission meeting today. May I have a motion to approve those minutes? So moved. May I have a second? Second. Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Next up, we have brief director's reports. First of all, in regards to the grant review, a brief update for the commission. For all 2023 grants, as of December 31st, 2025, all of our 2023 grants have been closed out and have been completed. With regards to the 2024 grants, there are 7 grants that are still activated and extension requested data meeting to the office. In addition, from the 2024 grantees, and ensure the commission to where we have had some funds returned, we have 5 organizations return a total of $152,969.76. So that money has come back and gone back into the settlement fund. For 2026, as an update, we've received 160 prevention applications, 179 treatment and recovery applications, totaling approximately $170 million in asks. In addition, for the research and innovation application, we've received 40 of those, and that ask is approximately $44 million for those. And the last piece of the director's report is we have the privilege of adding a new staff to our office. Michelle Burns is with us, and she will be working as a grant specialist with the prevention grants in particular. I think commission members will find very quickly that she is already making huge strides to assist the work in the commission, and we're going to be able to talk to you about some of that as we move forward later on through the grant making process. So we look forward to that. With that, we're going to go ahead and move into new business. So today's first order of new business is going to be in regards to the Youth Prevention Initiative from the Attorney General. So at this time, I have the pleasure of welcoming Attorney General Russell Coleman to the meeting and invite him to make remarks to the Commission regarding the Better Without It campaign and update us and provide us some information and his thoughts on those. In addition to the Attorney General Coleman, Commissioner Allen, who represents the Commission on the Attorney General's Youth Prevention Advisory Group, will be providing an update on that. And we also have partners from Central Florida's CARES and CTS Market joining us virtually, who will be available to answer questions later. With that, Attorney General Coleman, thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Director Evans. I want to pause for a moment, though. I want to make sure I heard this correctly. Commissioner Ingram, I heard you referred to as a doctor. You don't have new letters behind your name, do you?
Yeah, been back to school. Really excited. No new letters. It's still just bad.
I've always held you in high esteem. I just didn't know if I had to refer to you differently, Commissioner. So thank you for that. Director, thank you. And I'm going to pause where I'll start at this, essentially the same sentiment where I will end here in a couple moments. And it is, it's not all that creative, but it doesn't detract from its sincerity. I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the members of this commission. What you're doing here is additive to your day jobs. The heart that you bring, the passion that you bring, whether you're here in the Attorney General's office physically with us or on those Hollywood Squares boxes, the heart is there present on those screens or in this room. And I want to thank you. I want to thank our staff. We have the staff that this effort and this Commonwealth deserves. You see some of them on my left and on my right. Some of them are not in the view of the camera. I've learned in these jobs so oftentimes when you're at the podium or you're at the microphone, the people who are doing so much of the real work, they aren't in view. They're around the corners of the room or they're behind the camera. And I just want to say thank you to our extraordinary staff who also bring a deep heart to this effort. I want to thank you all for joining us in this mission. And let's just define what this mission is. This is about saving lives. What we're doing here, everything we are doing, every conversation in regard to this effort, this commission with its hard to pronounce long acronymed name, it boils down to a bunch of folks who are trying to save lives and trying to mitigate harm, which is what brings me here to talk about Better Without It. This is an initiative that I sit here advocating on behalf of as the Attorney General, but also as the dad of 2 adolescents and a 6-year-old. that is trying to raise them in this zero margin of error environment in which we're trying to raise kids, both in regard to substances and technology. And what this is about is leveraging technology for good. It's leveraging technology that we're fighting on so many fronts to mitigate that's doing harm. We're leveraging it for good. I've said from this table, and you've heard me say a number of times from podiums, I've talked about the metaphor of the three-legged stool as to what will effectively mitigate our drug crisis here. Our drug crisis, not an opioid crisis. It is a drug crisis, although there's the Opioid Abatement Commission. We know that anything we do in the opioid space is also impacting those polydrug users, which is our threat now. It is a drug crisis, although the statute and our duty here is to spend those dollars to mitigate opioid threats. They all blend together. They're all taking our kids' lives the same way. And so what benefits in one space, thankfully, is assisting us in the other. But I talk about the three-legged stool, and one of those legs is enforcement. It's what my colleague on my right spent most of his career doing. It is locking up those that bring the poison to this Commonwealth. It is going after the individuals and the organizations that are killing our kids, using prosecution, using law enforcement, using collaborative efforts. And I'm proud of what we're doing in this Commonwealth and in the Attorney General's office in the enforcement space. It's about partnering. But another leg of the stool is about treatment, and we're finally to a point in this Commonwealth where you don't have to wait in line to get treatment for your family members. You don't have to go on a waiting list and experience loss. We're finally providing enough treatment beds. Now, it's the role of the Attorney General and our colleagues to make sure that every one of those treatment beds are using federal and state dollars with fidelity. And so we're investigating and enforcing healthcare fraud statutes. But look, we're finally there in terms of that leg of the stool as well. But there's a third leg of the stool that's a little bit wobbly, particularly in regard to kids, and that is prevention. And that's what I'm here to talk about. That is what the Better Without It initiative is. Thanks to this effort, we are reaching kids. We're engaging kids. We're going to where they are. We're building momentum thanks to your investment, thanks to your good stewardship. There have been more than 7 million, and this is an important number, 7 million views of the Better Without It content. This is on Instagram, on Disney Plus, on Hulu, and ESPN streaming. I promised to go to where the young people are. I promise to engage and use technology effectively. I promise to not just be that prosecutor pounding the podium saying, don't do drugs or one pill can kill. Well, let me admit, I'm still doing that too. But this is additive. We must do all the things because the threat is that large. With your initial $3.6 million investment, we've had high-profile partnerships. We've partnered with UK's Trent Noah and U of L's Javon Hadley. Even with Coach Mark Pope, I didn't think I could be a bigger fan until I met this gentleman and saw his heart for his players, but his heart for Kentucky young people, his heart for this Commonwealth. And to partner with him is such an honor. We're also partnering at Western Kentucky University, but also with extraordinary kids who might not be on the basketball court. Gracie Medley, who lost her brother to addiction. If you haven't seen her content, maybe if there's one takeaway from my remarks, go to her content. This young woman is extraordinary, and her willingness to leverage her pain to try to save lives, to try to reach young people. Gracie Medley, just incredible. Proud of these efforts. These messages, these messengers who look like those that we're losing, who are young people themselves, they're powerful. And their goal is to help young people thrive, to reach their full potential, to remind them that they truly are better without it. Now, that is why I'm here, and I make no bones about it. I'm here asking for nearly $6 million to continue this effort. It's a significant investment. We know that. We also know, because we heard it from our mamas and our papas and our moms and our dads, we also heard that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. When we invest early, fewer lives are lost. When we invest early, fewer empty seats are at kitchen tables. Fewer families are destroyed. Phase 2 of Better Without It will expand our youth-led, and let's emphasize that, our youth-led engagements and in-person programming. We'll be giving young people a way to access this Better Without It, the BWI message, without having to stare at their screens, without having to use this. We can actually capitalize on what, in this day and age, is called real-world peer-to-peer interaction, also known as human conversation, Commissioner. As parents of teenagers, I'm thrilled. Best case scenario, it's a book, but I'll take any interaction that doesn't involve looking at a screen. And that's what we'll be leveraging some of these resources to build out. This new chapter will involve direct engagement of young people at schools, at community organizations, at localized prevention events across the Commonwealth. We've seen the BWI message work. You're going to hear about that in just a moment. Now we're activating a full court press to go to more places where our kids are, to be more impactful, to use faces that they recognize or relationships that they can build. And we, as good stewards, are going to evaluate and continue to evaluate and refine our efforts. That notion of stewardship is important to me and my role, and I know to each of you. We don't want to just bury those talents. We want to be good stewards, because stewardship not only is our duty, good stewardship means there are more lives saved at the end of the day. I want to end by telling you this. Kentucky is going in the right direction. For the past 2 years, you know, because you look at the data, because you live this, you know the numbers are better. You know we're trending down. But you also know we're not there yet. I could show you one at a time images of one of those, two of those, one at a time, those 1,400 plus that we lost last year. 1,400 Kentuckians. Those families don't think they're there. We're there yet. Those families aren't celebrating successes. We have to do more. We have to be more creative. Partner with those that look very differently, sound very differently, come from different demographics than I do. It's not about R&Ds and parentheses behind your name. It's not about urban and rural. It's about what works. And we will continue to refine this. And I couldn't be more excited about this Better Without It effort. It's about saving lives and families and futures. So I'm going to stop with where I will start. My real job here today, other than to thank you, from our staff to commissioners to partners with our team, my real job here is to be the appetizer to the main event sitting to my right. And so with that, jokes aside, I couldn't be much more honored than to introduce someone that has given his entire professional life, who failed at retirement and couldn't stay out for long, who has a deep heart for Kentucky, a deep heart for our kids and our families, someone who is called to this. Calling is a notion that's a lot more than professional affinity. This man's called, and I'm honored to call him a friend, and I know you're honored to have him as a fellow commissioner. And so with that, Commissioner Allen.
Thank you, General. No pressure at all. I was telling one of my friends a moment ago in the back that I feel like a rookie pitcher called up from the minor leagues today to face the league's best home run hitter. But I'm honored to be here. I know I'm among friends. I'm honored to sit next to the General as we work on this. You know, he and I discussed prevention years ago when we were working in the trenches. And here we are. We've come full circle. We've got something that we can promote and be proud of. You all have supported this day, and we're going to ask for more support for this. But I appreciate the General trusting me to sit here beside him to promote this valued initiative. You know, we've discussed many times in our talks and our meetings the principles of positive youth development: competence, confidence, connection, character, and compassion. You know, as I sit next to the general today, I can feel his energy. He's not just reading a speech. As I said here, I can feel his passion. He cares about this. It's snowing outside. He probably has other things to be doing, but he scheduled a block of time to come here to promote you, to urge you to support this. And I appreciate your support thus far. You know, I've been honored. Chris asked me to sit on the Youth Advisory Work Group. This is a group of individuals from across our Commonwealth, including County Judge Executive in Harlan County, Superintendent of Schools, Kerry Ballinger from Rockcastle County, I should say, the Superintendent of the Year, I will say again. We sit with the recovery and treatment folks that are on this work group. We've got some youth ambassadors from Taylor County and across the Commonwealth that are in this youth work group. We presented this to them, I think, about 10 days ago. They were unanimously in support of this. I will refer to some of their comments as we go along. But you know, we've got a lot of great things. The general promoted a lot of that we've been able to do thus far. But do you remember when you got your driver's license and mom and dad gave you the keys to the car for the first time? There's a little bit of a trust, a little bit of a going out there on your own. Well, this is kind of what phase 2 is. We're kind of going out there on their own. I know Stanley and some of the VWI folks are joining us via Zoom, and they will continue to be with us. But this is a way where we kind of autonomize what we're going to do in our Commonwealth and with our kids and with our young adults. So again, this is we're reaching a demographic with technology that we know little about, but we're entrusting these professionals who have led us so far, and now they're giving us the keys to the car. So as good stewards of the checkbook here, I can assure you we're getting our money's worth, and I'm proud to promote that. The general mentioned 7 million views on ESPN, Disney. This is the content of views of the Better Without It content that's been viewed on ESPN, Hulu, and Disney Plus. So we know what we're doing is working, and I'm glad to sit before you today to urge you, to promote, to encourage you that the money we've spent so far is working, and we're going to ask for some more today. I think it will be a great time for me to kind of sit back and let's play Gracie's video. The general referenced it a few minutes ago, but I think it's important that you hear from the people that we're helping, the clientele that we're reaching out to. And I'm going to warn you, this will touch your heart, so be ready for that. So I'll go ahead and ask you all to cue that video up, and let's see what Gracie has to say about Better Without It initiative.
Losing my brother to an overdose completely changed my life. I was very young when my brother passed away, and I don't remember everything. I do know that after his passing.
I'm working online. Sorry, I'm sorry.
We're just working through the tech side of things.
I'm over 50. Not my strong suit. Okay.
Can you all see it now? Okay, I see it. That's that nice.
Losing my brother to an overdose completely changed my life. I was very young when my brother passed away, and I don't remember everything. I do know that after his passing, I had to watch my mother struggle. Not only my mother, I had to watch my whole family went through a bit of a struggle. It's not something that should happen. It's something that you should try to avoid. It's something that doesn't only affect you, it affects everybody around you, and it definitely can affect your family. Drug abuse has hurt my family, and I've seen it every day, and I know there's a better path for me, and I just gotta stay on it. I wish that my community understood it doesn't only affect you, it can affect the people around you and the relationships you have with family and friends. It can push them away, it can push you away from them, it can push you from your future, it can hold you back. My name's Gracie Medley, and I'm Better Without It.
We certainly appreciate Gracie's video there and her input, and that's just one example of many that are ambassadors or the message that they're putting out there. So I think you can see we're getting a good return on investment for what we're doing here. You know, for the overview, the heart of the project remains reaching youth directly. The general used the word engaging Well, that's connection. That's one of the C's of positive youth development. We want to connect with the youth in ways that we don't even know how to do. But again, we've entrusted the BWI folks to show us how to do that and how to support that endeavor. So phase 2 leans into the request of reaching out to schools, community groups, youth councils, and we want to continue to engage with Better Without It. The media campaign highlights include we're going to continue to use NIL opportunities to showcase our student athletes. The general referenced some of those, and also our coach, our popular coach there at the University of Kentucky. We want to continue to use inspirational stories. I mean, nothing kind of motivates us and stirs us at our very core when we can see young people engaging in this endeavor. We want to recruit and feature new youth ambassadors. I think we're going to expand our university. I know we are. We're going to expand the universities that we currently, U of L and UK, we're going to expand that because I know we have more wonderful universities throughout our Commonwealth. But we want to encourage, and in the encouragement comes the confidence. Again, one of the C's. I keep referring back to connection and confidence. Those are the 2 C's that we're focusing on today. And we want to give our trainers, our youth ambassadors, the confidence that what we're doing is working. You know, it's easy to get excited about something that's working. If we can create a little bit of a buzz, create an interest to where people want to get involved and support this endeavor. So that, and ultimately why we're here today. So what's new in the way of this phase 2? Well, we're going to get right into schools, communities, youth groups, a newly designed stakeholder campaign, and in highlights that I'll include in just a minute, but I referenced some of the comments that were made in our youth advisory work group. Carrie Ballinger she said, we're giving students the autonomy to do the work. Zach Crouch down in Taylor County says this phase 2 is community specific. So that's what we're excited about. We're going to offer free training on the evidence of Better Without It for adult advisors and youth leaders. We're going to develop materials for stakeholders, including posters, billboards, activity kits. We know from looking at our billboards that an attorney can hold a hammer. It works. We know that a gas station in Richmond and in Bowling Green can promote billboards from miles away. We know these marketing campaigns work, so why not tap into this and put the Better Without It message out there. This is a youth-driven initiative. It's a pilot program for youth group engagement. 5 groups will be selected the first year, and then 5 groups will be selected the second year. We're going to offer training opportunities. I referenced that, including youth training event in the second year of the project. We're going to support project and program development, and we're going to set up micro-grant opportunities to pay for these costs. But we will continue our partnership with Better Without It, but this gives us a chance to kind of move forward with some of our own specific and creative design. The contract includes 2 Kentucky production partners and covers the cost of advertising placement on all the streaming services. I believe in this program. You all have heard me speak many times about prevention. And I'm excited about this. I'm excited that the recovery and the treatment folks are excited about this, because I think that it's really hard. We've discussed many times. It's really hard to put a stat by prevention. We don't know how many lives we've saved by folks who never entered down this dark road. And I'm glad to see that the recovery and treatment folks are supporting this. They're behind this, because we need a clear, concise message. Hey, you don't need drugs. There are other ways that you can get through a hard life, a hard day. And I think that Better Without It has set the tone for us to promote this. I believe it's successful. And I sit before you today to humbly ask for your support. Jesse has posted the ask here. We've got a statewide budget. There's this big ask, $1.3 million for social streaming, partnerships, and influencers. I talked about the marketing behind this strategy. Very important. We've got a stakeholder and youth curriculum customized. It's going to be via live, some video calls, in-person trainings. You can see that's a big ask of $325,000. I won't bore you with a PowerPoint. You folks can read. But that breaks down what we're wanting to do. Project management, $428,000. Campaign management, $535,000, for a total proposed budget of $4 million. And then the additional cost to be managed by the KYOAAC staff, university co-branded advertising and NIL contracts. We know that's working, so we don't want to deviate from that. That's $1.1 million we're asking for. Materials to promote BWI at events and schools. Swag. It's always good to have T-shirts and banners and posters because it lets everyone know, hey, what we're doing is working. And when you're willing to wear a T-shirt, to me, that's the ultimate support, yes, validation of, yes, I support this initiative. So evaluation RFPs, we're going to continue to evaluate and monitor what's working and take a look at what's not working. So the subtotal for the BWI portion is $4 million. And then the 2-year project for the budget is 5.8 million and 2.8, basically 2.9 annually. So it's a big ask. Yeah, I know it is. It's that's why the cameras are here today, I guess, because we're asking for a lot of money. But my dear friends, this is working, and I'm excited to promote something that's working, as opposed to just sitting here and checking a box. Sitting here next to the general who I know I share his passion. He cares about Kentucky's youth. He's not just a public servant hired to do a job. He's here because he cares. He mentioned his kids, his teenagers, his young son. He cares. He wants a better and safer Kentucky. And I can tell you that what we're doing is working. I'm honored to sit on this commission. I'm honored to sit with you. I know we've got several laborious hours ahead of us as we read over these applications. I think Chris referenced $170 million in asks over the next few weeks that we're going to be reviewing. That's a lot of money. And I'm humbled to come in here today, and I'm a little bit overwhelmed even to ask for the almost $6 million. But I want to again reassure you that what we're doing is working. I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for the many hours yet to come that we will serve together. We will roll our sleeves up and we'll try to spend the money appropriately and correctly. But I can tell you that I'm one of the most exciting things that I'm doing right now is promoting Better Without It. So with that, I will close. Chris, I will turn it back over to you, sir. If I have any questions, I'll be glad to try to field those questions.
Thank you, General Coleman. Commissioner Allen, thank you very much for that. It's greatly appreciate the service and the commitment to it and the explanation in terms of what we're looking at promoting. I want to make sure that there is an opportunity for all the commission members, if there are questions that you have, again, we're able to talk about those with staff, and again, we also have those with us from Florida as part of the team. So I want to open it up to commission members for any questions or comments that you may have.
Yeah, I'd like to, can you hear me, Chris?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right, perfect. Well, first of all, I just want to begin by thanking you and the Attorney General and Mr. Allen for being so engaged on the prevention front, because it is making an impact. Excuse me. To see the engagement, to see the response, and to see the effort by the Commonwealth and the Attorney General's office to meet the problem before it even becomes a problem. And so I'm really appreciative of that. I do have some questions, some clarifying questions that could potentially help. And I looked through the report that Jesse had shared yesterday, and that was a great report. And one of the things that stood out to me is how this is not about rebellion from the youth, but it's about how they're coping. So how they deal with stress, anxiety, pressure, and feeling overwhelmed. And they're also making it very clear that they're not just asking for more messaging, they're asking for like real ongoing support. And another piece that caught my attention was the trust gap, and I think that's so relevant. And this data is the type of data that we need to listen to and pay attention to. And so we know that young people struggle often with identity, with resilience, and, even empathy and understanding. And this awareness that there is a gap with finding support from the community, from adults, is illuminating. It really tells us a whole lot. So it tells us that this effort to be effective throughout, to reverse the trend, it's going to require a relationship and to extend that level of understanding. And so if I can distill it down into a question, it's this. So as we consider this funding request, and Mr. Allen, you're right, it is a lot, and you know, I again appreciate being a champion really for the prevention efforts. And so as we consider this, how will this campaign help translate these insights into sustained community-based supports that actually fill the gap and help young people manage stress, build coping skills, connect with trusted adults beyond the attitudinal change? So like beyond the awareness, beyond the messaging phase, what elements have been put in place to further capture not only the attention of youth, but to surround them with the support that's needed, and the things that they've highlighted that are so relevant: stress and dealing with difficult emotions and anxiety and social pressures. And I understand that the messaging is necessary, it's needed, but I would consider it, this messaging is the front door. And so my question can be structured as this: what's behind the front door? And I think that's where I'd like to.
Yeah. Absolutely, Jason, and that's a great question. That's part of the thing that we have talked about in terms of moving to phase 2. The big portion of what we've been successful with in phase 1 has been that awareness piece, as you said, bringing people into the front door. The other part I want to make sure that we're clear about, as we have always said, is this is a very collaborative effort. And what we're doing and what we're talking about with phase 2 is bringing not just awareness through, but that partnership with those who work this system, throughout the system, engage with youth. It would be one thing if we were sitting here saying we're going to continue and we think this is going to solve all the ills of the Commonwealth and the prevention aspect, and that's not. As Commissioner Allen talked about, we've been going down this road specifically engage with those partners, and what we hope to do with phase 2 is bring them through the door and create opportunities to be able to understand how content gets delivered to them. We talk about this with Better Without It, but as we talked about the Attorney General's youth prevention, we talked about making sure that we are inclusive in the work that we do, and we continue to pair this up with other efforts. So I think that is what's really important to understand, is that we're not saying this is going to be what is going to solve it. What we're saying is this is going to help people walk through the door, as your analogy said, and in phase 2, our goal is to help identify ways to get them to those places that you talked about. And that's the reason for the big ask and what it takes to do. Because it's one thing to bring them in and have their voice shared, but it is another thing to help drive them to those treatments and those resources that they need. And that's what we're really looking to do as we move forward.
Great. Well, thank you for answering that, Chris. And yeah, I appreciate that. It's helpful. And one thing I'll add, and that's it for me, the outcomes that we're tracking. When we say that it's working, and maybe the team from Better Without It can probably address that or answer that more specifically. So when we say that it's working, what are we basing that upon? What outcomes specifically? But I can see that we're going somewhere here, and that is great news. That's good news. And to see that this is not under any false assumptions going to be the thing which solves addiction in Kentucky. Obviously, we know it's not a magic bullet, but I do believe that this is a movement in the right direction. So thank you, Chris, for answering my question.
Absolutely. Dr. Brenzel, I see that you've got a question.
Yeah. Yes, I just wanted to also echo the appreciation for the focus on prevention, because I do think when we're in the weeds and we're pulling people out of the river, we forget to look upstream and find out why they're falling in, and so and it gets short shrift in some of our other federal funding and some of our state work. And so really appreciate the Attorney General's focus on prevention. I do too, like Dr. Root, want to invest in this and look forward to the next level. I do think we need to understand, how this is different than other past failed attempts, like Just Say No, because that was not effective and did not show sustained change in behavior. It increased awareness and increased knowledge, but it didn't lead to change in youth behavior, and a lot of money was invested. What I see as difference in this is that it's about connection, and that's one of the challenges, is because our youth are living online, but often isolated online, and not managing their stress and anxiety. And so I think this is a great opportunity to leverage that media. But I can tell you one of my big disappointments is I spent some time looking at the website, because I think we're spending a lot of money directing people to the website. And the website, if you click mental health resources, it takes you to Central Florida. And the only resources listed on that website are in Central Florida. And I expect that to be changed quickly, especially with the amount of money that is being invested. Because we in Kentucky have done the work for you. We have Find Help Now, KY.org, and that should be prominently displayed on that website. If we're going to create demand and interest in this and direct people to this, we need more regionalized resources on that website. We need more specific community opportunities and more front doors in Kentucky on that website. So I look forward to monitoring that over the next few months to make sure that that's corrected.
Thank you, Dr. Brenzel. We appreciate that and recognize that. I know we've had that discussion about the need for that. So again, we appreciate you bringing that forward. Dr. Ingram?
Yeah, I would also like to add 8338 KY Help. That is our office runs that. It's open 7 days a week, from 8 in the morning to 10 at night weekdays, and from 10 to 6 on weekends. Great staff that really will help anyone suffering any kind of substance use or mental health issue to connect with the right resources.
Commissioner Purdy?
I want to just say thank you for all the efforts that are being done and brought into this room. I echo some question too also. If it's a Florida focus that's been brought up, and the Central Florida Cares logo and other things on the site, does that look like it's not a Kentucky-based initiative? So we need to be cognizant of that as well. And I also looked at materials as well, and I want to see a little bit more diversity, because I think we all need to recognize that Kentucky is a state that's spread out across the Commonwealth. But we have 2 historically black colleges here. One I represent, that's Simmons College of Kentucky. And I want to make sure that we include some of the experiences and voices of the minority community, whether it's Indian, Asian, and all of the above. And we need to be aware that some of the issues for poor students in poorer counties is brought forth through these efforts, and they are part of the conversations and the surveys and all of those things that are brought forth. So maybe the issue should be the same, and as a chair of prevention, I want to make sure that we're looking at some of the affinity groups that attract diversity, like the Big Brothers and Big Sisters, the Boys and Girls Clubs, the Ys, where our kids typically hang out of all races and ages in this demographics. So I want to make sure we get a good database of the impact. I have a 20-year-old in college. We want to make sure students, college students, and we're using Hadley as a role model. So we want to make sure Hadley of U of L is a role model to all students, because he is a voice that our students of all colors and all ages will listen to. So I just want to make sure in whatever phase we bring them in, those 2 factors are brought up. So, but thank you. I think this is wonderful. I think that we're doing a lot coverage here, but I just want to make sure we're inclusive.
If I could briefly respond to that with all humility, this is a moving target. And this kind of input, both from our colleagues on screen, Dr. Brenzel, in terms of resources here, Commissioner Ingram, in terms of Kentucky-centric resources, but also in terms of diversity, racial and geographic, certainly, getting into the purchase and getting down into the mountains of even farther east than where my colleague is from. This is a moving target, and when we sit here next time, I'll be seeking every time we cross paths. We want input. We want to improve this.
Absolutely.
And so I'm hungry for this. I know our team is hungry for this. I know our vendors are hungry for this. And so to be good stewards, we're continue to bring where we can get better. We can be more diverse, more inclusive, and that's not happy talk. This is too important to be happy talk. So thank you for that.
Thank you for saying it.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, just to your point, I think as you see the additional content that rolls out, I think that what you have brought up is a discussion that has taken place, and I think as you look to the content that rolls out, you'll see what you're talking about.
Great.
So that is something.
I mean, I believe when I say diversity, I mean diversity of thought, all of it,
Yes.
not just race.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And Debbie, we'll get to you after we've got Dr. Freeney.
Yes, thank you. Again, I'd like to echo what everyone is saying in terms of the need for the focus on prevention. It's very, very important in the work that we're doing. I think I'd like to follow up a little bit on what Dr. Roop was sort of asking. And we do have folks I know from the Better Without It campaign and from Central Florida Cares on our Zoom. And it's my understanding that the Better Without It initiative, started earlier in Florida than it did here. And so I was curious if you could talk a little bit about how you're evaluating the program in Florida, since it was initiated, I think, maybe in early 2023 or late 2022, I'm not exactly sure, and what your evaluation plan is, and what sort of outcomes you are seeing from the evaluation work in Florida that we might learn from as we think about evaluating what we're doing here in Kentucky.
Absolutely. Maria, you want me to speak to it, or do you want to speak to it?
I'll start and then I'll hand it over to you. First of all, I want to thank everyone on the commission. Thank you for the opportunity and the partnership and your trust on Better Without It. We've been doing Better Without It for about 3-4 years now, and we've been gathering data. We've done informal, and I'll let Stanley talk to the informal process. Our goal is to do a formal evaluation, hire a third-party entity to go ahead and facilitate that. But we wanted to have some concrete data and experiences on the implementation behind us in order to have the valid sampling necessary for conducting a good evaluation process. Stanley's been taking the lead in all the youth engagement components, and he has a lot of the experience and data that he can share here with the group. Stanley?
Thank you, Maria. I want to definitely echo what you said. It's great seeing the passion too for such a group with so much responsibility that truly care about the youth. That is so evident. It moves my heart. And so the things that we've been doing here locally, and I've really been proud of, as Maria mentioned, we are at this point now in our second or third year of the actual youth engagement piece to have this data for the third-party formal assessment and evaluation, but we have actively been doing our surveys and focus groups. And one of the ones I wanted to speak to that really stood out to me are the youth that have already showed indicated risk for using substances. And through the school district, we have a very interesting school district that we've been utilizing for the entire county for this pilot project, if you will, because it's rural students, it's students from more, let's say, upper middle class families. You have students that live, have houses, beachside, those who are actually right now in transition, meaning they don't have stable housing. It's been all across the gamut, not just racially and ethnically, but also socioeconomically. These are students who are caught either in possession of something that, alcohol, vaping, and we're trying to catch them now before this becomes an issue. The age range is middle school and high school. We've even had to work with about, let's say, 4 or 5 elementary age students in 3rd and 2nd grade, which, if you can believe that, as well. And a part of it is they're coming from homes where this is normalized in a lot of situations. So trying to address all those factors as well. And what we've seen in our diversion program, I'd like to use that one as a really good indicator of how it's going, because once again, these are youths that are indicating risk already in this prevention phase, is that in our first 2 years of utilizing it, we have had really good success. When it comes to students not reoffending within those 2 years, our success rate for that has been 91% in the first year and then 95% the second year. Some of those kids have had behavioral issues. When you adjust for that, that's happened not outside of substance use, either absences or perhaps behavior-specific issues that are not related to substances. That would bring our success rate still down to like 83% for the first year and 86% for the second year, which is really, really good. And that's coming straight from the school district. That wasn't, that was us pulling data from them and asking them about these students. What we really hope to do going into this third year, we're halfway through that, is to focus on the students that are still in school from those first 2 years and tracking their behaviors right now. Right now we're trending very well with it, but I want to wait till we have the complete data for this school year so we can kind of do that. And that'll be information that we can feed up to our third-party formal evaluator to really see how this subset of, I would say, acute students are reacting to it. Aside from that, we've been utilizing this with the student youth groups as well. So that includes football teams, that includes the student government associations, on the other side of this, on the other side of prevention, so that they can be the messengers for their student bodies. We don't pretend to know everything about what the young people are thinking, and we are not always, Better Without It is built on us not being the best messengers for that, no matter how hip or cool we think we still might be, speaking for myself. So I've learned that pretty quickly. Kids are pretty honest. I've had an opportunity to sit in with some of these youth groups, including the diversion group, and see it work. Kids they're clammy in the beginning, especially when they're there for a reason, that's not favorable to them. But once we get them talking and have them leading these discussions, it has been amazing. That's my qualitative, assessment on that. And we service in that school district, I'll add that back into the diversion piece. About 300 students a year get referred to us. They threw us right into it. They saw the campaign, they liked it, and the school district asked us to come up with a diversion program so they could stop sending so many students to the alternative learning sites. And so we're drinking out of the fire hose from day one with it, but it's really put us through the crucible to get us to this point where we feel so confident about the Better Without It message that it's truly working. It's not just a just say no message. It's not just a fear-based message. I do believe some of those messages work. I say everything works, but not with every student. And so with these particular youths, this has been great because we've told them just what it says. You're better without it. Let's talk about what your strengths are, what you can be, and why that's going to succeed if you avoid these other things. It's built into the message. And with social media and the negative trend of narcissism, as we see happening with all of that, and self-focus, we've been able to tap into that to kind of push it toward the positive side. And it's very skillful to try to do that, because anything, kids can see straight through anything they don't believe in. So really using them as the messengers and pulling that out has been beneficial. And so yeah, I'll pause there.
I'd like to also allow for Carolyn and Greg some time to speak to the social media engagement component that should also add to the inquiry around the data piece and how do we know this is working.
Yes, thank you. And I'll just briefly add again that it's been beyond inspiring to work not only with this advisory commission, but also with everybody that we've had a chance to interact with from Kentucky across the state. And I'll include the amazing athletes and youth ambassadors in that, because that really is in some ways one of the successes that we can speak to in terms of engagement on the messaging side. Young people don't always want to put up their hands to be part of a campaign like this. It's not necessarily the easiest ask of them to put their faces all over videos that are going to get streaming coverage statewide. And we've seen, as this campaign has gone on, it's been a bit of an avalanche effect with how many kids have been starting to put up their hands, electronically speaking. We've seen more and more as videos have gone out how the young people across Kentucky are saying, hey, I actually saw this message, I saw this athlete that I respect, and I want to be one of those storytellers. That literally happened from a video that we put up with a U of L volleyball player, Camden Schrand. She inspired the youth ambassador who's going to be in one of our next upcoming videos to put up her hand to tell her story about how she wants to make a difference and be part of spreading the word. So in addition to likes and comments, which are always things that we can look at in the marketing world, reach, awareness, things like that are fairly easy to track from a marketing standpoint and fairly easy to obtain if you have advertising dollars. But what's difficult to obtain is kids actually voluntarily putting themselves out there to be part of it. And it's been really just awe-inspiring to see the number of kids that have started to want to voluntarily be part of this.
Commissioner Raines, I understand you have a question also?
First of all, I fully support this program. I think it's reaching the students the right way through positive interaction with other students. One thing that Jason brought up that I kind of, as I was reading those key insights that we were given yesterday, one thing I noticed when you broke down the regions of Kentucky, it kind of jumped out at me since I'm a 38-year teacher. The different regions on how they felt comfortable. In the regions like Bluegrass was 45% sought out professional, but I was concerned when I saw Central region 39%, and then the East Southeast region of Ashland 38%. And so when interacting with other students, I'm wondering how can we kind of slip in there the information that there is a professional in the school that can give them so much more on a one-to-one interaction instead. Kind of taking the step of we're reaching them through the media that we have, but sending them with someone who can talk one-on-one. And 45-50%, that's realistic. I mean, that's with kids. Because a lot of times kids have help at home like that. They can reach out. But I was concerned, when it was 38 and 39%, I thought maybe in those areas that needs to be targeted a little more of the professional of one-on-one available to send them to KY Help and maybe walk them through it. So that's just a little thing that came to my mind when I was reading that yesterday. But everything else I fully support. I mean, I do. But I just thought maybe that's, like Jason said, put a little bit more human interaction as the extension of the beginning step at the door.
Thank you, Debbie. And that is the key part of what we're talking about with phase 2 is getting into that other place where we're not just talking kids and bringing them to the front door, but actually helping them enter into the places that they need to get to the services. So again, all these things that you're talking about are things that we understand need to be monitored and need to be looked at and continually evaluated in this process to make sure that we're doing the things and delivering the content to the Commonwealth that we say we are. Any other commission members with questions or at this point? All right. With that being said, then I'm going to ask and for a motion to approve this funding in the amount of $5.8 million for this effort. Can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
A motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jim.
May I just say again, thank you, and maybe point out the obvious irony of a prosecutor and former law enforcement officer sitting next to a career trooper who worked on the cannabis suppression team to the director of our staff, the acting administrator of the DEA, all asking for resources for prevention. Not for equipment, not for officers, but for prevention. And that's because that's where the threat is. And in law enforcement, we go to where the threat is. So I want to say thank you for helping us mitigate the threat.
That's good.
Thank you for being with us today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to the next order of new business in regards to naloxone funding. As the commission knows, in the past, as part of the settlement agreement, we've received naloxone product from TIVA and partnered with the Kentucky Pharmacy Association for distribution. A review of the market and best practice shows that it now would be more efficient to receive the cash value of the product option and provide those funds to the Kentucky Pharmacy Association for distribution of naloxone across the entire Commonwealth. The cash value of what we're expecting at this time is approximately $500,000, and what we'd like to ask for is for a vote to approve this process, so instead of receiving the product, but to receive the cash payout, which would go for the distribution across the state. At this time, I want to make sure before moving forward, are there any questions or comments from any commission members? The money would go to the Pharmacy Association.
Just a quick comment, Chris. I worked on the naloxone saturation plan with partners from behavioral health and public health. We really appreciate this. This is really getting naloxone in the hands of people most likely to use it, most likely to need it. And that was the whole point of our saturation plan, was handing out naloxone to people who are rarely in a situation where it would behoove them to have it. The EMS Leave Behind program has been really successful. A lot of our EMS folks have really taken it up. I want to thank the Commission and Attorney General's Office for allowing for that use of these funds.
Thank you.
Just one question. Does that meet the need? That's spread enough?
It has so far. It has so far. We distributed the state all combined 179,000 dosage units of naloxone in 2025. We also, as we know, we saw a 30% reduction in overdose deaths in 24. 25 looks good too. So, yeah, we think it's working.
If I might, the Pharmacy Association has told us that if they don't spend this money all, we're going to include language that the money will just roll over for the continued purchase, so that if for some reason they don't need as much this year, but they need more next year, they would have those funds, would stay with the Pharmacy Association specifically for naloxone. So that would be built into the contract with the Pharmacy Association.
I'll make that motion, Chris.
Great, thank you. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
I'll second it.
We've got a number of seconds for that, so thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Next up is a quick matter in terms of the meeting date change. At this time, we're seeking to move the March 31st commission meeting to April 16th, 2026. This would allow for additional administrative work to be done before that meeting takes place. And so we want to see if that can get moved from that time to the next portion of it. We realize that you always have to consider scheduling and requires things that may come up with you all have to check schedules, but we'd like to get the permission to seek to move the date.
How about a state that day?
Okay.
Are you back the following week? What about?
Yes, I'm back following
the
week.
The 21st is the Tuesday. We move it to April 21st, does that work?
Let me check real quick.
As long as we do it at one.
At one.
And those of you online, I'm not sure, want to make sure you heard that if we're talking about, we understand that the 16th, which we proposed, does not work for several members, but the 21st is the date we'd like to see if it looks on your calendar as amenable.
21st looks good for me.
I can participate remotely on the 21st.
Apologize for that, Chris.
Oh, no, that's quite all right. Commissioner Raines or Dr. Brunzel, Dr. Root, is that? Okay.
Yeah, that should work, Chris.
Okay. All right, we'll move forward. We understand that there may be some things that we'll juggle as they come through, but seeing as that, can I get a motion to move that forward with the new date, April 21st? We have a motion, may I have a second? Second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. At this time, I just want to make a notice of the upcoming dates for subcommittee meetings of the Treatment Recovery Committee, as well as the Prevention Subcommittee for the grant review process. The upcoming dates for the Treatment Recovery Subcommittee meetings are February 9th, 10 to noon, February 13th, 10 to noon, February 23rd, 10 to noon, March 2nd, 10 to noon, March 9th, 1 to 3, March 16th, 10 to noon, March 20th, 10 to noon. And then for the Prevention Subcommittee, the list of dates are February 26th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., March 5th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., March 12th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., March 17th from 1 to 3 p.m., March 19th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., March 24th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., and March 26th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. As noted earlier, in the need for additional administrative time after these meetings, and the work ahead of you, as was mentioned several times today, we appreciate all of you, and we want to put those again on the calendar, and we'll publicly make sure those are available.
We will discuss this. We will post all of those meetings on our time.
If there are any changes that are required that come about the meeting, we'll make sure that those are publicly posted and are available for all to be aware of. At this time, I want to move forward with the opportunity for public comments. I have a list of those, if there is anyone who has not signed on the list, but I have a list of individuals for public comments who have moved the podium, and we'll ask you to come to the side. Yeah. That way that'll give you the opportunity to the mic to be able to pick up and for you to hear. And starting us off, if we can, Mr. Henderson and Mr. Wilson, we understand that you wanted to come up together. If not, we'll move forward with Mr. Henderson. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I sit on a number of boards and have over the years, and I can understand that about an hour is the attention span of the average board attendee for my experience. So certainly want to kind of just be brief here at the end of your meeting. I'm Jim Henderson. I'm the executive director of the Kentucky Association of Counties, and Chairman Evans and commission members just wanted to take a chance to stop over and share a few things about what's happening with counties. County officials, we know a lot about building roads and about plowing snow and how to jump into action after floods and those kind of things. But what most county officials haven't had a lot of experience in is tackling something as complex and far-reaching as the opioid epidemic. The opioid settlement funds gives counties a real chance to make a difference, and county leaders take that responsibility seriously. They want to do good work with these dollars, but just as importantly, they want to make sure that they're doing it in the right way. And as everyone in this room knows, figuring out what you can and can't spend the settlement funds for, the rules with regard to that haven't always been simple. And so that's why over the last several years, KYOAAC has put a lot of time and energy into education, training, and hands-on help for our counties. A big reason we've been able to do this is because of the partnership, the collaborative relationship that we have with this commission. And so thank you for that continued partnership and support. Central to our efforts has also been in bringing on someone to be a part of our team to do that and be singularly focused on that, Lauren Carr. Lauren has crisscrossed the state, meeting with county officials in the courthouse or wherever, speaking during virtual meetings, events, and conferences, and taking a lot of phone calls. She's provided direct support to more than 100 counties so far, led more than a dozen webinars with almost 1,000 attendees in total, and conducted 35 in-person presentations across the state. A major focus of our work has, over the last year or two, has been working with this commission and the staff on reporting and compliance. And we were happy to be able to provide input on the recently launched reporting portal. Over the last year, KYOAAC worked directly with 31 counties on reporting requirements alone, helping our counties achieve 100% completion of required reporting in the first year under the new regulations. We're very proud of our counties for that. Building on this momentum, we're excited to have also recently launched KYOAAC's Opioid Solutions Network, where we will bring together a select group of county leaders for an immersive year-long program. Applications for that program are actually open now, and we will begin choosing our participants in the coming months. And while we can share all the numbers that we have all day, and the real value of this work is what it looks like on the ground. And so I'm joined here today by a couple of folks from Marion County, Community Representatives Brandon Wilson and Jessica Bickett, who are going to speak just a little bit about their experience working with KYOAAC and how our guidance and support has helped their county move forward with some exciting initiatives. So I'll turn it over to them.
Thank you.
I think they're signed up, I think.
We don't have Jessica, but we'll get it.
Okay, all right.
Well, thank you for having us today. My name is Jessica Bickett. I am a Safe Community Specialist with Lincoln Trail District Health Department. I'm also the board chair for Heartland Trail ASAP, and I co-chair Marion County's Heartland Coalition, along with Laura Sedlacek of our United Way. So we're here today just to talk a little bit about some of the awesome things we have going in Marion County. We've really built our momentum the past few years, and we have some great things going on there. I think it kind of all started back in 2019. Our coalition, our local coalition, started to work towards Safe Communities America certification. So that model is a long-standing approach to reducing injuries and death in counties. And it looks at 6 areas of motor vehicle crashes, substance use, falls, workplace injuries, suicide, and emergency preparedness. So as a part of this work, we spent a lot of time having one-on-one conversations with people in our community. Some of those conversations were with law enforcement and EMS, and those were the easy ones. They pretty much get the connection between safety and working with substance abuse individuals. And some of those other conversations were a little different. You have to explain what you're doing and why that matters to them. Why they should care about someone who has substance abuse issues, or prevention, why they should worry about prevention or recovery or treatment. But we all know those things strengthen our workforce stability, improve public safety, reduce the strain on healthcare, and strengthen our families, which ultimately strengthen our communities. So we have having those conversations really helped us to pull more community partners into the work that we were doing. So instead of just knowing about what we were doing, they really became more invested in it. And our coalition today is pretty diverse. It's a pretty good group of people. So after a little COVID delay, we finally became a safe community accredited in 2022. And not long after that, we started working on our Recovery Ready Community certification. So those initiatives required a lot of collaboration and conversations and alignment across systems that don't always come together. But we, during the process, we really became stronger and more connected. One gap that we kept noticing was in our talks with getting these 2 certifications was a disconnect between our local courts, treatment providers, behavioral health, and our elected officials. So now we have a behavioral health liaison that's a part of our coalition, so we're glad to have her there. But those groups, their work is very much intertwined, but they don't often talk directly to each other. So I thought, I got to find a way to pay for a nice lunch and get these people together. So that's what we did. And that is completely out of my wheelhouse. I don't know a lot about the treatment side or the court side or whatever. So I thought, what am I going to do here after I get this group together? But we basically just looked at how we can support individuals with substance use disorder while strengthening our systems and our community. And that meeting led to a creation of a committee that very quickly decided that our opioid abatement money should be spent on a position, and that's where Brandon came in. So we met several times and decided what we wanted out of this position, and Brandon's been here a little over a year, and we've done some really great things since he's been here. Our coalition today has grown. We have 4 work groups. We have a substance use group, mental health, child safety, and we now have a Heartland Youth Council, which is made up of high school students to share their voice on our prevention work. So as we've grown and gotten bigger, we've increased our capacity to do things. We're starting to focus more on those protective factors. We know that strengthening those things can reduce risk across the board for substance use, mental health, domestic violence, child abuse, all of those things. So addressing those issues upstream allow us to be proactive rather than reactive. Judge Daugherty and our fiscal court have always been very supportive of our efforts. The city of Lebanon has as well. One of our latest initiatives with fiscal court was to put 988, the suicide crisis hotline, and Find Help Now on our garbage trucks. So we now have, it has 988 real big on one side and the Find Help Now information on the other. So we get really excited when we see our garbage trucks now. So that's just a recent collaboration that we've had with our fiscal court. So they're very supportive, they're wonderful, and all of our success mainly is built on relationships. I first met Lauren Carr at a K-SPAN meeting.
In the interest of time, I just want to make sure, I know we've got one more speaker, but
Okay.
usually we'll give 3 to 5 minutes for what we're doing. So
Okay,
make sure
and I'll be fast. So anyway, I'm gonna turn it over to Brandon now and let him tell you about what he's doing.
All right, thank you all for providing us the opportunity to give you all an update on how we're spending our local opioid money. I also would like to thank Lauren Carr, for her continued support and guidance as this work moves forward. The opioid abatement funding has allowed our community to shift from isolated efforts to a more coordinated approach. My role as a community support specialist, supported through this funding, focuses on strengthening collaboration and connecting individuals and families affected by substance use disorder to appropriate support and intervention services, while also contributing to community safety and well-being. This work is a collaboration among the City of Lebanon and Marion County Fiscal Court and the strong foundation established by Jessica and the Heartland Coalition. Their engagement with the community partners has helped identify needs and gaps and shape the most effective use of opioid abatement funding, with a focus on strategies that have greatest impact across the 3 pillars of a recovery-ready community, for which we received certification last May. One of the primary initiatives supported through these efforts is the Situation Table. It is a rapid response multidisciplinary model that brings together partners from law enforcement, behavioral health, education, and social services to support individuals and families experiencing elevated risk. By addressing risk before they escalate, this model improves individual outcomes, enhances overall community safety, and reduces strain on emergency services. Building on that work, we have also strengthened our partnership with Cordata Healthcare to enhance our quick response team, which includes Marion County EMS. This team allows us to respond immediately to overdoses, engage individuals in support and treatment options, and connect them with resources in real time. The QRT is a critical element of the Situation Table, helping us to provide coordinated, rapid response to high-risk situations while supporting recovery and community safety. Another key program is our REACH program. Re-entering American Communities with Hope is a pre-release program that's offered at Marion County Detention Center. Through REACH, community partners engage with individuals prior to release, building rapport and providing clear information about treatment, recovery, housing, employment, and other community supported services. Building a connection before the release ensures ongoing support and a smoother, safer transition back into the community. Prevention remains a top priority. The Heartland Coalition, in collaboration with Lincoln Trail Health Department, offers several evidence-based initiatives that Jessica spoke about a little bit in her presentation. One thing we are doing is what we call Loco Nights, Lights Out, Nights Out. It's KNIGHTS, which refers to our school mascot. This is an event that is held once a month on Friday nights and provides a drug and alcohol-free environment for high school-aged youth. It promotes positive peer interaction and encourages healthy decision-making. Initiatives like this are crucial for reducing risk before substance use becomes a concern. Across all these initiatives, my role is to support coordination and communication among partners so service remains aligned and responsive to community needs. Opioid abatement funding has strengthened partnerships, enhanced existing services, and allowed us to better support individuals, families, and the community as a whole. Looking ahead, we are also exploring opportunities to establish a recovery community center in Marion County. We have submitted the grant proposal for this initiative.
I'm just going to, if you're going to get into conversations about grant proposals, that's something I should have said at the beginning. We want to make sure not to get into that. This isn't the forum for us to be able to do that.
Okay. So overall, Lebanon and Marion County are using opioid abatement funding to support prevention, treatment, recovery, reentry efforts in a way that promotes community safety, stability, and long-term well-being. I appreciate the opportunity to share this update with you all today. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time and your work. All right. Appreciate it. We have one, Chandra Carell, if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Or are you signing in, or were you just?
I was just signing in.
Okay. That's all
You
right.
you said Carell correctly, it's Shanda. But
Shanda, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
All right, well, thank you very much. We'll be back you on the list. With that concludes the public comments. Any commission member announcements at this time?
First, let me say how much I appreciate Keiko's willingness to take on Lauren Carr. The work, our paths cross several times every month. She represents you all so well. I really appreciate you bringing her on board. That's all I got, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And yes, we all know Lauren's been online. Sorry, any comments? Okay. Anything else? All right. That looks like that concludes for the commission member announcements. And with that, I'm going to ask if I can have a motion to adjourn.
So motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Second.
No. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
So the motion passes. Thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you very much to everybody. Appreciate you.